Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. I suspect, or maybe I predict, that the biggest party at this point in Germany, the Alternative for Deutschland, will be banned, will be illegal pretty soon. And I will make my prediction based on the current articles that I have here, where the Alternative for Deutschland became the biggest party in Germany, the Großen Partei in Deutschland. And that's no joke. There's no joke. They will ban it on the reasons that it is an extremist party. And who will decide it's an extremist party? People who are really in charge of us. Now, I hope that you, when you were a child, you were taught certain kind of principles from your parents, educators, the society overall. Let's say you had a healthy society. And one of these principles was the principle of justice, a virtue. And that is, you should not be given something or receive something if you didn't earn it. Or if you go in a competition, you should win, or only the best should win according to the rules of the competition or the game. Well, these are thoughts for life that, I don't know, some of us were given when we were children from our parents and so on. Now, we can consider ourselves sometimes suckers with this kind of principles and values and rules and skills, because when we go in the real world, we realize that that's not really like that, especially when there's important things at stake. Maybe nitty-gritty, okay, but when things are very important, all the rules go out the window and they tell you who's boss. Now, the same thing I suspect will happen to the Alternative for Deutschland. I have 3 articles here. And let's start with the first one. This is from the 7th of April. I start kind of chronologically. This is from the 7th of April 2025 from Russia Today. Germany's Alternative for Deutschland draws level with Merz's conservatives. Opinion poll. Now, I would like to tell you that Merz's party is called conservative, but you are conservative not only by what you say, by what you say, but mostly by what you do. I have to remind you that Merz's party, if I remember correctly, was Angela Merkel's party. And I think that CDU was her party. And if you remember, Angela Merkel accepted more than 1 million Syrian, they say, refugees just like that in her country. A conservative would never do this. He would conserve the nation, the nation. Well, she didn't. Why? Because they are not conservatives, they are globalists. So, the last elections, they were held, I think, in February 28 or something. This party right here, CDU, which is an alliance with CSU, right here, alliance, they got about 20-some% of the vote. 27, I think, or something like this. The bad dudes, or of Alternative for Deutschland, got about 25%. So very close, very close. Remember, that's an alliance. And then the current Chancellor of Germany, Mr. Olaf Scholz party got like 18 or something like this. And then the Greens, the baboons, why I call them the baboons? Because I think they're communist. And why? By their ideology and actions. Annalena Baerbock is part of the Greens, got about 5%, 6%, something like this. So, nevertheless, this CDU/CSU, the conservatives, supposedly, that won the elections, highest number of the percentage, they formed an alliance not with the Alternative for Deutschland, who are conservatives on the right. They make with Scholz on the left. So, what goddamn deal is that? I will tell you what a guy said in 1920s about coalition governments. But let's read further here. So the right-wing party has gathered 24% of support, according to a survey by INSA Institute. Support for the right-wing Alternative for Deutschland party has reached parity with the country's conservative CDU/CSU alliance, according to a new national poll. The development comes as CDU/CSU remains in talks to form a new government weeks after a federal election. So here it is. It is the Christian Democratic Union, CDU, this is Merz's, with Christian Social Union. When you hear social, all right, or Christian, for me, it's a community. Anyway, you can say, well, conservatives are a community too. All right, and then both have 24% public support, compared to the last poll in February, conducted shortly after the federal election. The CDU-CSU lost 2%, while the AfD gained 1%. Meanwhile, German Social Democrats, SPD, whose rating plummeted under Scholz, remained at 16, not 18, while the Greens and Left polled each at 11, not 8. Okay, so the point is, they made this survey and they say, opa, these guys right here are close to one another. And then we find this one from yesterday. So from the 7th, which was this, to the next one, on the 9th, Alternative for Deutschland tops German opinion poll for the first time. The right-wing party has garnered 25% of support, outpacing the conservative CDU-CSU alliance, a new Ipsos survey shows. I understand this is the survey, not a real numbers, let's put it this way. She is the one that's supposed to be the Chancellor of Germany, Miss Alice Weidel, I think you would, or Vidal. This is the co-leader of the far-right Alternative for Deutschland. Okay, so why do I say that they will be banned? Because you have a pattern already. Alternative for Deutschland has an ideology, stands for something. And you see that ideology in other countries, other people who ran for office were banned having the same ideology, the same political platform. And I will give you some names. Marine Le Pen from France is going to be jailed, she's going to challenge that, for 4 years, and barred from running for office for 5 years in the democratic country of France, where you remember Mr. Emmanuel Macron, the president of France, just took the pension reform, signed it, and said that's it, it's going to be a law. He avoided sending that to the General Assembly in Paris to vote for it. Why? Because France is a democracy. One example. The other example is Mr. Georgescu, Călin Georgescu in Romania. Călin Georgescu was again projected to be the winner of the second round of the elections in Romania. He won the first round, and then they say, wow, this guy is projected to win the second one, let's bar him. And they did. They found something. They say, can we verify? No. Again, that's the second one. The third one is Șoșoacă, Diana Șoșoacă, again from Romania. All these three guys have the same, plus the Alternative of Deutschland, similar platforms. They're conservative. They're considered, all of them, far right. And all screwed up with something, made something illegal somewhere. They did. Not the ones on the far left. You will never hear. Where are they? They're still allowed to run, which are the communists. So if you have an ideology, the matrix will sanction you. How? They will say you can't buy this product. It's your product that you want, but it's not for sale. Therefore, you cannot vote. I will mention Donald Trump. A big attempt over there. But what happened in America, I think it was a deal. The art of the deal. I think Trump made a deal with the right people. And he was allowed to be selected, put in front of us, to confirm the selection through our electronic machines, voting machines. And he got elected in a landslide. And his backers, you can see them right now, who were behind Donald Trump's selection. You can see what he's doing in the Middle East. So thank you very much is too obvious. That's the point that I make. Alternative for Deutschland will be considered, which is already considered. It's at the border of being turned into illegality because it challenges the good German nature of being suckers and feeling guilt for nothing. That's what it is. And these guys will be banned because they will be considered extremist organization, and they want to be by the German democratic law and full of freedom. Remember, Germany is part of the free world. They will ban it. Why? Because they don't like what these guys say, even though they could have, let's say, an opinion poll of, let's say, 90%. If you have the right people over there, the 90% do not matter. Example? Remember France had the yellow vests protest day and night, millions of people in France, day and night. Then they had the pension reform protests, day and night, millions of people. What happened? Nothing. They lost. Why? Because the military did not join the participants. That's how you make revolutions, not with the spontaneous people, storming the parliament. You storm the parliament, I live here, the oppressing forces come, they clear the parliament and the market square, and that's it. You all go home. Some of you go to the cemetery, the morgue first, and then the cemetery. That's how you win a revolution, with the military, if they join you. And the military tells the baboon, take it easy, we change it. And they will change it. Who's going to challenge the military? A billionaire? Do you have guns? How many guns you got? It's about brute force. So this is in Germany. I suspect Germany will ban Alternative for Deutschland. And let me show you how imbecilic some people in Germany are. This is from the 7th of April. German priest sacks altar boy over photo with AfD politician. So a priest who should care about eternity and your soul and all those things over there, the science fiction things, he declared that I'm going to sack this boy for his political views. The family has claimed that the cleric called the young man a quote-unquote Nazi. Now, who is the Nazi here? A Catholic priest in the German state of Bavaria has dismissed an altar boy who served at his church for 9 years. So friendship means nothing if you have the wrong political, I don't want to say affiliations, because I don't know if he was affiliated with Alternative for Deutschland, but at least he was a sympathizer over a photo taken with a politician from the right-wing Alternative for Deutschland party, the young man's family has said. Got it? So, and this is the Alternative for Deutschland politician Maximilian Kratz speaks during, so this is probably the guy who was pictured with the other guy, with the kid right here. The young man who took a photo with the AfD's, this Maximilian Emilian, who is now a member of the German parliament at the party event ahead of the pop. So, this is the attitude. So remember, let's say you are at work in Germany and someone figures out that you are a sympathizer of Alternative for Deutschland, they fire you. I'm just exaggerating, I don't know. But that guy said, I'm going to fire you from this thing. I have the power to do that. Why? If I remember correctly, Jesus Christ said, my doors are open. Anyone can come into my kingdom, come over. I'm here to help the sinners, not the perfect ones. I am here to help the people who are the sheep that is astray, not the one that is right here. Remember the lost child who returns home. So these, especially for this, the belief system, the Christianity, as it is made for people like a hospital. A hospital is made for sick people. The sicker you are, the door should be open faster for you. The same here. If this guy, the priest, considered that, the kid, Passeur Neuve, I can't remember his name here. I don't have his name. If this kid, altar boy, they say, wanted that, and he's sick, he's sympathizing with the Nazis, and he's a bad guy, that moreover you should be involved in healing him. But the problem is, you're not in healing people's political views, you are in healing people's moral, and you say, oh, that's morally wrong. What do? You let him go? He's going to come with an automatic weapon tomorrow. Therefore, you want him here so you can click, work on him like on an engine. That's it, my friends. That's it. Let me tell you about a guy in the 1920s. In his books, he said, why books? There are 2 volumes. Now you can buy it for 1. He wrote in his book in 1920s why he was against the democracy not democracy, about the parliamentarian system with the coalition system of governing. Because he said, if you have, like in this case, the conservatives and let's say the liberals forming a party, you actually cheated the people who elected you. Because when I go to buy, let's say, how should I put it? I'm going to buy a Coca-Cola, but the Coca-Cola comes in with vodka. Well, it comes together. But if I want vodka and Coca-Cola, I would buy them separately, or I make a choice. I want vodka right now and then Coca-Cola. No, they put it together. But I didn't vote for this. I didn't order that's why I ordered Coca-Cola, not vodka. So the same, when you are a voter for the, let's say, CDU, and you have the socialists joining, or the communists joining the so-called coalition, how is that going to be working? That guy asks, because you're going to assign departments and chiefs of departments to one party. Let's say the Greens, let's say if they are in the coalition party government with the conservatives, they will have, let's say, the education department. Now you can imagine what kind of education the future generation, the Jungen, will have after they are indoctrinated by the Greens. And the other guys, let's say, are gonna get the military, the defense. What attitude they will have around? They will be opposite. So you, as the voter, I voted for the Green, but those guys gonna make the policies on the military, and I voted for the conservatives, but the Greens gonna indoctrinate my child. I didn't vote for that. So that's the big problem with the coalition governments. I didn't vote for 2, I voted for 1. How would you make it? I don't know. The winner takes it all, like in Great Britain, when you have Starmer getting, 28% or 18% or something, his party or something, and then he becomes the prime minister. All right. So, prediction, these guys will ban Alternative for Deutschland when it gets more than it got right now. Why? That's the will of the people, but they don't care. Remember Macron? Remember Romania? Remember? All right. Thank you very much. Remember even the United States of America. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.